So continuing on from the last two videos where I talked about agility in board of directors meetings and last video where I shared about this 80-20 rule on airtime, today I wanted to share another 80-20 rule on how much of the board conversation and discussions are on forward-looking agenda items as opposed to backward-looking discussions. And unfortunately, traditional boards tend to spend 80% of the time looking back, especially in today's climate where there's a lot of pressure on compliance and controls and reviewing all the details of this past performance. That's important, but that's not the best use of the actual board of directors meeting. That can and should be done reviewing reports once a month or once a quarter, and the directors only flagging some of the key issues synthesized from the performance. But really 80% of the agenda item for when all the board members come together is to bring to bear the best of their wisdom and experience to share about what's likely to look going forward, because oftentimes board members must be the ones that have the most looking out furthest ahead in the organization, because oftentimes CEOs like myself, we're maybe the least likely to anticipate changes because we're so preoccupied with running the business day to day. And oftentimes traditional boards only tend to focus forward-looking items once a year at the annual planning cycle where they're discussing the next year's plan. And oftentimes there may not be a lot of strategic depth in those discussions either, because it tends to be much more about an incremental change, how much more revenue, how much more profit from the past year, as opposed to looking at how potentially there may be new blind spots that come up, things that may completely disrupt and upend existing businesses and industries. So shifting the discussion where 80% of every single board meeting needs to be about looking forward can create much more agility in boards.